Good afternoon, everyone present. A media briefing, deregistration, another political attack on a genuine militant trade union in South Africa, AMCU. Members of the media, guest comrade, we thank you for attending this media briefing. As AMCU, we had a very constructive National Executive Committee NEC meeting yesterday, and our engagement was shared with and confirmed our Central Executive Committee CEC this morning. During this week, we received a notice from the Registrar of Labor Relations indicating his clear intention to cancel the registration of AMCU. We have analyzed the process leading up to this action, and we are more convinced than ever that it is a political attack on AMCU for being a genuine trade union. AMCU is being punished for being a genuine trade union. We are genuinely committed to transforming the lives of the black working class in our country. We find it strange that the state is being so harsh with us as a trade union when the state has proven to be very soft on mining houses when they fail to comply with their MPRDA, Mineral and Petroleum Resources Development Act, and the Mining Charter. They were first given an extension of 10 years while communities where they are mining were suffering, while they were continuing looting the wealth of the country without the communities benefiting from these minerals. When former Minister Ramatlhodi wanted to enforce and withdraw mining licenses from those looters, he was withdrawn and replaced with the former Minister Zwane. However, he was removed as he did not buy into an issue of once empowered, always empowered. Then he was replaced by Minister Gwede Mantashe, who pushed through the mining charter that business wanted. The constant attacks on AMCU by the state is not different to the way the British state was used to break trade unions under former Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher in the 80s. It is clear that the Conservative Party was captured by UK big businesses in the 80s, just like today the state is captured by white monopoly capital. During the era of colonialism and the discovery of rich mineral resources, white capitalists started building their empires on the back of the hard labor of black workers. They forced us to pay taxes, took away our land, forced us to leave our families behind and come and provide them with cheap labor. They submitted us to terrible working conditions and exploited us in order to increase their profits. The empires of white monopoly capital grew and grew while we became poor and poor. Big businesses, and specifically the Chamber of Mines, became very powerful, so powerful that it was able to capture the state very quickly. First, this capture was done in the Union of South Africa in 1910, and in 1948, it was continued by the capturing of the National Party. Apartheid made this exploitation legal, and the black working class was oppressed even more. The struggle against oppression gained momentum all over the world. The working class and the progressive organization worked together to force the apartheid regime to negotiate settlement. CODESA came and our constitution was born. We had our first election almost exactly 25 years ago today. Tomorrow we celebrate Freedom Day. But the question will be, are we really free? What does it help to be free if you have nothing to show? What is a political freedom without economic freedom? CODESA in 1994 compromise might have given us political freedom and perhaps even social freedom, but it had failed to give us economic freedom. This was not an oversight, though, no. It was intentionally designed to protect the privilege of white monopoly capital. White capitalists ensured that CODESA was used to protect their interest and their wealth by co-opting the new ruling elite in their wings. This led to many of the black negotiators at CODESA becoming extremely rich. Some of them left politics to becoming businessmen. Some stayed in politics, and some returned to politics. This wealth, however, came at the price of the majority black people. The price was to sacrifice the economic emancipation of the millions of black citizens of our country. This is why we now have a small black elite in our country, but still the majority of blacks live in poverty. This is why we have become even more unequal after 1994. We have been sold out. State capture came long before Gupta's. It came in 1800s and it continued in 1990s. The ruling party was captured at CODESA and the state is the servant of the capital. If there is one thing that capital hates, is a strong militant trade union like AMCU. Capital wants weak trade unions, yellow trade unions, sweetheart unions, unions that can easily be convinced so that management can have it its way. Capital wants trade unions that conclude agreements in the boardrooms without a mandate from its members. Capital doesn't want a genuine trade union who runs its affairs through the mandate of its members. The tripartite alliance of the ruling party, COSATU, and Communist Party was also captured. This created a perfect environment for capital, as even labor was now captured. The National Union of Mine Workers will be easy way for capital to protect its privilege and feed its appetite for hyper profits. However, workers are not stupid. Workers are not dumb. Workers quickly realized that they were sold out by NUM and other yellow unions. They wanted a genuine militant union that can carry their mandate. They wanted a genuine union that can fight for their rights. They wanted a genuine union that can change their lives and make a difference in their lives. Then came the Marikana massacre on 16 August 2012. This date was the turning point. Workers showed that they have had enough of the black hand deal of yellow unions in their expense. Capital showed that it had truly captured the state. Shareholders in Lonmin used their power and influence to deploy the state security forces and brutally shot and killed workers in broad daylight in front of the TV cameras. Was this done by accident? No, not at all. It was done on purpose to show their shareholders that they will not allow workers to eat into their handsome profits. It was deliberate, designed to warn workers and trade unions to back off. Sibanye-Stillwater gold strike. Let's fast forward to 2018, just last year. Again, yellow trade union sidelined the majority of black mine workers and make a wage deal with Sibanye-Stillwater. Again, the workers make a stand and decided to strike. Again, capital tries to break the strike by all possible means. Again, the capital used the state to use barbed wire and live ammunition, killing our members. Again, capital-provoked workers allows inter-union rivalry to flourish by favoring their yellow union over AMCU. Again, capital use the media to spread false propaganda that tarnishes the image of the militant trade union called AMCU. Again, capital use the state to intimidate members of AMCU during the strike. Meanwhile, all genuine attempts to resolve the wage dispute are countered and rubbished. At some stage, the mine was even prepared to reopen the agreement and increase the wage of all employees, but the yellow unions refused. They wanted to protect their narrow interests at the expense of their members. Without dwelling much on this point, AMCU was relieved when Sibanye saw the light and brought a solid settlement offer, of which resulted in settling the strike, and further avoided what would have called the second Marikana. AMCU is a genuine trade union, registered in terms of the Labor Relations Act. The AMCU Constitution defines the scope of the organization to include a variety of sectors apart from mining, including manufacturing, transport, and construction. Since its formation in 1998, AMCU has constantly grown to what it is today. One of the largest private sector trade unions, is one of the largest trade unions in South Africa. AMCU is run by shaft stewards who are elected by members at the shop floor. In terms of our constitution, shaft stewards elect branch executive committees and at the regional level. Regional Congress elect regional executives committees. At the national level, there is a National Executive Committee, Central Executive Committee, and every 5 years, a National Congress. AMCU branches have meetings at least once per month, and regional executive committees meet weekly. During wage negotiations or other pressing issues, AMCU convenes more regular mass meetings where feedback is given to the members and mandate are taken from the members. Only a genuine trade union operates like this. We make decisions at the mass meeting, not around the boardroom with the capitalist. This is why AMCU continues to grow. AMCU has inaugurated new regional structures and offices in all provinces of the country, from Katu to Cape Town, from Steelport to Richards Bay. AMCU is there. AMCU is everywhere. AMCU remains in total compliance of the Labor Relations Act. Our finances are well managed, and we submit audited financial statement every year. Our books are in order. There are no financial issues with AMCU. We have our National Congress every 5 years. At National Congress, we make policy decisions and have leadership elections. Our previous National Congress was held in 2013. This means that our next National Congress would have to take place in 2018 if it were 5 years later. Correspondence with the registrar. On the 24th of August 2018, the Registrar of Labor Relations Act wrote to us raising several points. One of these points were requesting us to state when we will have our next National Congress. We indicated that due to the vast number of the new branches and the regions being formed, we will only be ready for the Congress in 2019. We undertook to conclude all processes and have a Congress before the end of May 2019. As part of our preparations and in terms of our constitutional guidelines to give notice of National Congress at least 6 months prior, we convened a Central Executive Committee meeting on the 25th of October 2018. At this meeting, we read out the correspondents from the registrar debated the matter and proposed that the National Congress be held in May 2019. The CEC unanimously agreed and passed the resolution in this regard. That the resolution of the CEC is the point from which the 6-month administrative time frame will count towards the month of May. I think I need to stress this one for your benefit. It must be noted that the resolution of the CEC is the point from which the 6-month administrative time frame will count towards the month of May. In fact, it will be a notice of 8 months. In the meantime, we continued with the build-up processes to the National Congress, including branch, regional elections, where such were due in terms of the Constitution. In other words, for those that branches, their terms of office expired, we conduct the election, and the region likewise. Then came the Sibanye strike on the 21st of November 2018. And this strike kept all of us very busy for almost 5 months. Most affected were the 2 major regions of Free State, West Rand, as well as the national leadership. On the 8th of February 2019, in the height of the strike, the registrar writes to us again. This time, he requests us to submit details regarding notices delegates attending the Congress, as well as nominations for the leadership positions. We find this very suspicious. We feel that he might disclose this information to the third party, as he has done on the previous occasion. So in other words, he will request the information from AMCU in the previous instances, and such information he will disclose to the third party, which for us is very much unethical. So we said, fine, you want this detail of our information, tell us your sources who wants such information. On the 7th of March 2019, we raised a preliminary point before we submit the information requested by the registrar. We requested him to address the issue of inconsistency in interfering in the smaller administrative details of the trade union's constitution. We also asked him to disclose the identity of the complainant, which led to his investigation. We said that we are willing to give the information, but that we first want him to address our preliminary point. Remember, for every union activities or any challenge that the union can have, the members must have a complaint to the registrar. So we are asking the registrar who complained, who put the complaint. In the previous matters, you were able to disclose that the former deputy president complained, and you gave us the detail of his complaint. The second complaint was from our member at Mashasfat, of which we gave us the detail. Give us the name of the person who complained about the Congress. So the registrar failed even today to tell us who is the complainant. The registrar receives our letter, but for the first time fails to acknowledge receipt. Furthermore, he does not respond to our letter. The previous correspondence that we had, he was responding, but in the last letter correspondent, he never corresponded or responded to our letter. At our next NEC meeting on the 1st of April 2019, we read out the letter from the registrar to the leadership before thoroughly debating the matter. The NEC notes the difficulties with the various time frames in the light of the protracted strike. For the sake of constitutional compliance, the NEC resolved to mandate the General Secretary to write to the registrar that we will postpone our National Congress to September 2019. It is important to note that the NEC has a constitutional power and authority to postpone any meeting or event convened by AMCU. So these are the constitutional powers of the National Executive of AMCU. 2 days later, on the 3rd of April 2019, the General Secretary sends a letter to the Registrar to update his office on this development. This update referred to the guidelines and timelines reflected in the respective clauses of our Constitution. It is also indicated that mostly due to the Sibanye strike, compliance with the timelines led to the NEC resolution to postpone the National Congress to the month of September 2019. The letter invited the Registrar to pose questions or queries if necessary. Once again, the Registrar failed to acknowledge the letter. He also never responded to the letter or contacted us for the sake of questions and or queries. Still, we continued with our arrangement, and on the 12th of April 2019, issued a comprehensive directive to the regions regarding the respective administrative timelines in terms of our Constitution. It also set the specific dates for the National Congress to be the 18th, 19th, and the 20th of September 2019. Those were the dates that were communicated to all constitutional structures leading to the Congress. Notice to cancel the registration. Much to our surprise, we were issued with a notice by the Registrar on Wednesday, the 24th April 2019, that he now wishes to cancel our registration. But to our surprise, we first heard this news from the media. The media was the one that heard the news before AMCU that AMCU is under threat of being deregistered. We feel this highly inappropriate action to take a view of our constant correspondence to his office, inconsistent and unduly interfering in the internal affairs of AMCU. The inconsistency of the Registrar when it comes to the registration of trade unions leaves a lot to be desired. There are numerous examples of trade unions and trade unions federation who have contravened many prescriptions, including financial submissions. They were never deregistered or threatened with cancellation of registration. Just yesterday, in the article in the Sowetan, pointed out how COSATU affiliate CEPAW, Chemical Energy Paper Printing, Wood and Allied Workers Union, was not deregistered when it was found to be in a serious breach of LRA guidelines. This happened even after the dismissal of the previous registrar, and the current registrar has done nothing about it. Instead, he chooses to focus on AMCU. This is clearly a political agenda. Meeting with Registrar. AMCU will meet the Registrar on Tuesday in an attempt to solve this matter. We hope and pray that the Registrar will see sense so that we can continue with our Congress preparation as planned. In the meantime, AMCU has given the matter to its legal team to consider alternative legal options. We have a mandate from our CEC and NEC to proceed according to the advice we received. Status of AMCU. AMCU remains a registered trade union and all rights and agreements remain intact. A general memorandum was sent to all stakeholders, and we thank all involved for their understanding and support. We are busy preparing for the upcoming platinum wage negotiations. We are by far the majority union at platinum operation of Anglo, Lonmin, Impala, and Sibanye Stillwater. We are encouraged that this round of negotiations will be fruitful and progressive. AMCU will continue its campaign of social justice and economic emancipation of the working class. In closing, the timing of deregistration of the AMCU, you could see clearly there's a hand of white monopoly capital because they are trying to protect their interest if we engage them in economic emancipation of our members in the platinum sector. I thank you, Joseph Matunda, AMCU President. Thank you.